Okay, and we're live. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and welcome to the fifth edition of Naviar Virtual, our fully digital event. And today I have here with me Barry, also known as HardWired. Hi, Barry.
Hello, thanks for welcome to sunny Norfolk.
Nice. So today we're gonna be talking about Barry as a musician, and Barry also made some music for us tonight, which we'll be listening to later. And I'm gonna be asking him a few questions about his journey as a musician and about what he prepared for us today. So, Barry, let me just start with the first question. Tell me a little bit about your journey as a musician. How did your music career start?
So it started when I was about 14, 15. I got a computer and I got a Creative Labs AWE64 with a whole 4 MB of RAM loaded, and started using sound fonts and started discovering how Autechre were using sine waves in some of their earlier albums and kind of stretching those out on Cubase.
Mhm.
Then I kind of moved into Fruity Loops, and then I took a break for must be at least 7 or 8 years, and kind of moved to England and kind of did career stuff and family stuff. And then about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, not long after I reached out to you on the Naviar haiku weekly haiku. Started using Ableton, and kind of moved on, or still using Ableton, moved on to circuits, and now MC101. And yeah, that's where I am
Mhm.
today. All those toys.
Nice, nice. I can see that you have a synthesizer or a keyboard behind you. Is that
Yeah, this is my trusty. It's actually just a piano, like a classic piano keyboard. It's a CTK 3000. So I bought it when my kids were really young.
Mhm.
We bought it in case they ever wanted to learn, but I use it as a MIDI controller. It is lovely, but I just tend to use it as a MIDI controller. If they want to play it, they can come out and learn it. Um, yeah, I've just stuck some stickers on as well, so I can learn my keys and scales properly. But yeah, I can give you a quick whistle stop tour of the setup if you like.
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. So okay, excuse the wobbly camera, we're kind of proper challenge Annika style. So yeah, that's the keyboard, just a CTK 3000. And then I tend to work standing up when I'm riding and stuff. So Sculpt, which I love, and then Launchpad, love a Launchpad, Akai MIDI Mix, and I tend to use isolated rigs. So I've got 2 circuits
Mhm.
and a Skyman, and one of the circuits is rigged to a Skyman, and then the MC101 on its own. Of course, who doesn't have Volcas? Classic Behringer mixer. Probably some of you will recognize the Lo-Fi Junkie.
Yeah.
See that? So love that. Get hook that up into the Sculpt and get a lot of vinyl sounds. And then for the visuals, I can do those live as well. So that uses some really old Raspberry Pis, and then we've that plugged into a Panasonic WJ AV5 as a time-based corrector, and then we've got an Eddie Roll V4, which I've hooked into an old camera, that's how I do the overlays. The
Mhm.
camera's kind of hidden at the minute, and a whole suite of and a nasty load of cables as well. But yeah, that's the setup, and of course, no setup would be complete without a
Oh,
massive
beautiful.
Ableton controller.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I tend to. Everything's centered around Ableton, but I tend to use things in different sections or kind of isolated rigs, if you know what I mean, to play on. So
Yeah, yeah. That's fascinating, really. So I wanted to ask you, what about your approach to video making as well? Because you make music and you make videos as well. Do you
Yeah.
make music? Do you make videos for your own music regularly?
Yes. Yeah. So it actually first really started when we went into lockdown,
Hmm.
and we started doing the kind of live streaming and stuff, and I kind of need to do that, so that I came across, I was trying looking for different techniques to do, and I came across a circuit called a dirty video mixer, which kind of crosses two signals on two analog signals, and you get that really glitchy torn effect.
Mm.
And I thought I
Yes.
really like that. I had a load of I work in IT, and I had a load of old Raspberry Pis lying around. So I thought this is perfect. So I ended up rigging up a couple of those, and then bought the other equipment to kind of allows me to kind of do it in real time. So some of it I do post editing on, but a lot of the visuals you see when I'm doing live sets are recorded live and edited live. So the one I did for you,
Mm-hmm.
in order to, so I was able to concentrate, I did the audio first, and then I went back and I did the video live to the audio recording, and then kind of put those both together in post editing. So all the effects you see are in real time. The
Fine.
videos, the videos are kind of pre-recorded stock 10-minute footages, and then of what I also built is do you remember Winamp from back in
Yeah,
the
of
day?
course. Yes,
Do you
yes.
remember the visualization, the visualization tool, the visualizations you used to be able to do? So it's a program called Milk Drop,
All
and
right.
that
I don't
was
remember.
migrated to Linux in a project called Project M. So I built it on a Raspberry Pi and then overlay that on top. So there's like at least 4 or 5 different images being layered on top of each other, and it just creates this awesome look. I really like it. It just creates a kind of nostalgic classic effect, and then you can use the mixers, the video mixers, to add a little bit more to it. So it's yeah, it's nice to do live as well. It's like it's every time it's new, if you know what I mean, the same but new.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely, and I really like it. I watched recently one of your videos, the videos you made for Slab City, if I remember well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was beautiful. It was really,
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Yeah, thank you. Adele show Adele Carmichael does a radio show. It's a Norwich-based show, but
Uh-huh.
she finds music from all over, like electronic music from all over the world, and that's on Future Radio. And yeah, she was the first one to ever play out any of my tunes.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always been really supportive. So she asked me to do that for her for Christmas. So that I think that was all in one take, but that was a really nice yeah, it was a really nice set. I think I did enjoy
Yes,
doing it.
yes, yes, I agree. I wanted to ask you also about your creative habits. So, what do you do? Because you do make music regularly, you
Mm,
participate in the haiku challenge on a regular basis, and you also make music outside of it.
yeah.
So, I wanted to know a little bit about how you approach. What's your approach to content creation?
Yeah. So um, I, I kind of actually take David Bowie and Prince's approach of all people, because I kind of looked. I was trying to. There's these kind of stages as you're becoming an artist, and you go through these different stages of self doubt and all that kind of stuff. And I was reading what the classic guys did, the big boys did. So Prince and Bowie constantly wrote. They wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and that's kind of what I tend to do, and I use the iteration and try and get better on each iteration. So I tend to write regularly. So since lockdown, I work from home. So everyone, the kids and my wife goes to work at about 8. So I've got an hour then, and I tend to record or I write something in the morning. Um, and then anytime I can squeeze it in. So you know yourself, family and work come first, and then when that's done, I can come and play. And so I tend to try and get 2 or 3 tracks done a week. They're not all, I mean, they're not obviously they're not all good. Some of them I bury and never hear again. But I try and go through the full process, so they're kind of writing and then writing creating and patching, mastering at each time, and try and get better on each step. So
Do you manage to do
it's
this every day or?
I try to, yeah, I try and
Oh,
do it every day. Um, it's I'm a creature of habit, so it suits me to a creature of habit and routine. So I kind of like, and I find it's an escape as well. The same as, yeah, I mean, if people would go for a jog or they'd go training. I mean, so I
mhm.
play video games. I find it the same. I can just escape into it and forget about what all the other things that are going on at the minute. It's kind of, it's nice, and I like making things that sound nice and look nice.
Yeah. I understand. Actually, I totally agree. The reason why I started the haiku challenge in the first place was
Yeah,
to create something that would allow people to make music regularly. So it just makes sense, and I think it makes things easier as you continue doing it.
yeah. No, I think, yeah, and I think the haiku challenge is brilliant. It was I think it was one of the first things I actually came across when I started making music, and where you could just openly submit to it, and like there was different artists submitting every week, and everyone had a different interpretation of the
Mhm.
haiku itself. And I mean, you're kind of looking at the image as you're watching as you're playing through the tunes, and then I mean, it's that a lovely little community of kind of supportive, and yeah, it's always really nice.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Um, Earlier on, you mentioned the pandemic and
Hmm.
how it affected your work. Uh, did it also affect your music somehow, your style or your habits?
No, in a way, in a weird way, it kind of gave me more time,
Mhm.
because I don't have to travel anymore. I kind of, I work a lot, or I mean, at the time I was working a lot and working long hours. So the advantage of kind of having a bit more family time allowed me to have a bit more musical time as well. So it was kind of, it enabled me to increase production almost, or just have more time to it and learn more skills to it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think in a weird way of it's kind of worked out quite all right, if you know what I mean.
Yes, for
But
your creative self. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, on the creative side, it's a bit weird being on my own all day, just
Mm.
with a cat. I'm afraid the cat will turn up and start meowing because the window's open. He'll hear me. But yeah, it's just me and the cats during the day. So it's kind of, and some big speakers as well. I can listen to music on. So
That's okay. That's okay. No problem. Okay. Um, Another thing I wanted to ask you was about your sources of inspiration. So, obviously, you mentioned David Bowie, you mentioned Prince, but I was wondering if there were other artists or other forms of music that inspire you in your.
yeah, so I'm definitely, there's no denying I've got a massive Boards of Canada influence from buying vinyl effect inducing pedals and stuff like that. So it's early Boards of Canada, so kind of high scores era, that kind of thing, and early Autechre, so kind of
Wow.
Incubla, all that kind of stuff. Massive Orbital fan as well, and Underworld and all that kind of stuff. But it's like really um, kind of scam, early Warp Records, scam records, Reflex, um, and all that kind of stuff. I tend to be influenced
Mhm.
from Square Pusher fan as well. Like, so
Wow.
that's, I think that'd be the real influences. I think, and I quite a lot of people on the EMOMs, the virtual, electronic up mics comment. It's quite nice. You know, oh, that reminds me of tech, or that reminds me of. I mean, you kind of go, yes, that's kind of,
That's not
it
bad at
sounds
all.
good. Yeah, it must be good.
Yeah. Wow, no, that's great. And like the names you mentioned are really, really, really great, and are a source of inspiration for me as well. Okay, well, I just want to ask you another couple of things, specifically about the live set that you made for us. Do you want to introduce it? Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so this is a live set that has a few tracks from my new album called Axiom.
Mm-hmm.
And these are, so I don't, with especially with the MC 101, I don't record I only kind of like say in like an Ableton session view, so I never record the full tracks. Each time I play it out, it's unique. So this is a unique version of these tracks for Naviar, and then a whole unique section of video just for you guys as well. So this kind of customized for Naviar for your patrons to enjoy. So it was, the live set was recorded in one session, so with interludes with from the sculpt, and then the video was also recorded in a live session afterwards, matching or trying to match the audio as best I can. So I try and do them both when I play live, which can be a bit tricky
Mm-hmm.
when you kind of you forgot you left a synth, I mean, with it cut off way too high, and then you're kind of going back and forth. So I did them separate for this. So I kind of thought I'd make it a neater job. So yeah, I really hope, and thank you for giving the opportunity as well. It's um it's a massively appreciated and humbling as well to be able to play out for your community, because the guys that and girls that submit to you make some incredibly good music, so it's to be among them is quite humbling, so thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you too for for taking the time to answer my questions and to make music as well for us, music and videos for us as well.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure as always.
All right. Thank you very much for your time once again, and let's enjoy some of your music now.
All right, thanks, Michael. Take care.